The Palabora Mining Company is South Africa's leading copper producer. Located 360 kilometers northeast of the capital Pretoria, close to the Kruger National Park, the company has for decades been the lifeblood of the local community. Well, it's now leading the way with new age technology, with the mine now boasting the largest crusher of its kind in the world, built specifically for the mine, which has the deepest level underground globally. I spoke to the mine's Senior Manager Concentrator, UG Construction and Vent Shaft, Aidan Schoonbee, who told me a little bit more about this groundbreaking engineering feat. Aidan Schoonbee, thanks very much indeed for joining us and welcome to the BRICS Africa Channel.
Good afternoon, Peter. It's great to be with you.
So the Palabora Mining Company, PMC, has been in operation for a long time. And I'm curious about the history that got your company to having this engineering feat created. Take us back to what was happening to PMC, and I guess it's all about Lift 1 and what was on the horizon.
Peter, thank you. Lift 1 that you mentioned was the first underground mine. It was created in the late 90s and commissioned in 2000. And it was an underground mine underneath the open pit, which had been operating since the 50s. And in order to ensure a life of mine, it became uneconomical to continue with open cast mining, and the mine went underground. And in a similar way, the block cave that we know as Lift 1, that resource is almost depleted. And around 2011, work started on various alternatives, which included, unfortunately, the very real opportunity or possibility to close the mine. We are a low-grade copper producer, and we are operating much deeper than anybody else. And that comes with commensurate costs. Unfortunately, our feasibility studies came up with the technology to create a twin decline below our vertical shaft and develop what we know as Lift 2. Lift 2 is really another word for the second underground mine, which is directly under the first. And this is huge for the community and the mine because it takes our copper production and it takes the majority of our employees safely through to the 2040s.
Tell us about this crusher, because it is a world's first, and its size and stature also huge. Tell us a little bit about it.
Peter, it's the installation of a new crusher, so 150 tons, 4 stories high, a huge machine, 1.6 kilometers under the earth, and that's about for reference about 1.2 kilometers below sea level because of the elevation we are at Palabora. So it's part of a complex underground that's approximately, if you could imagine, a skyscraper 20 stories deep. That's what we have built in this complex underground. But I think aside from the size, it's the only crusher of its type in the world. We had to break it into components to get it that far underground. I think what really makes it significant is it's the hallmark of us moving from the Lift 2 project, which we kicked off in 2014, and the Lift 2 becomes a mine. And Lift 2 may not make much sense to viewers. It's the terminology we use. I could perhaps try to put it in context this way. We started off in the early 50s through to about 2000 as an open pit mine, which your viewers would be familiar with, about 800 meters deep. And at the turn of the century, we constructed an underground mine under that open cast pit. And that's at about 1.2 kilometers deep. and we call that lift 1. And then this is effectively an underground mine under an underground mine, which is under an open cast pit. So it's quite an achievement. It's quite an endeavor that our shareholders have invested and shown the confidence in us. And I think the significance of the crusher, we install a lot of equipment underground, but the significance of the crusher is it kind of transitions us from being a project into an operating lift 2 mine.
So a new idea of how to preserve the life of the mine was to dig deeper, but you needed new technology. Tell us about that journey and how it came about, because it had to be built uniquely for you, didn't it?
It did indeed. I could start with the temperatures down there. The virgin rock temperature is 58 degrees Celsius. Most people's household geysers, if they just opened the hot water tap, would be at about 55. So burning your hands. We've put in tremendous chilling and refrigeration and ventilation infrastructure to create the lungs that supply air to the underground operations, but also to cool those operations. Working at these depths with the stresses we have unique ground support regimes to secure the mine. We have a very safe track record in terms of falls of ground, which is one of the biggest risks with our peer mines. And fortunately, thus far, we've managed that very, very effectively. This is a German-designed crusher that's unique. It was custom built and designed for our application with components that could be split up small enough to get underground and then rebuilt. There are a number of firsts. We have just completed a vertical shaft to allow more airflow into the underground, which we need for cooling, as I mentioned. And we're installing what will be the largest fan station in Southern Africa on top of that shaft. And we're busy doing that at the moment. So a number of firsts, not just for us as a mine, but in fact for the industry.
Is this something that mining companies around the world will be looking at because of the innovation that's been required to get it done?
Peter, I think so. We had innovative techniques to, in terms of the shaft sinking that I mentioned, a 1,200-meter deep shaft, just under 9 meters in diameter. And we brought in new to the industry methods, which we refer to as the Palabora method. And it avoids people working one over the other and the safety danger with dropped implements and things. And we very successfully completed that shaft. And the mining method that we chose wasn't the fastest. It wasn't even the cheapest, but it was the safest. And we hauled through to the underground in January this year, and we were rewarded with an excellent safety record there.
How is it benefiting the mine apart from being able to bring up this resource? Is it job creating? Is it benefiting the community in which you're mining?
That's a great question. The main aim of the Lift 2 project was really to access a deeper part of our resource and thereby extend the life of mine out into the 2040s. So this is a tremendous employment opportunity for everybody in the local community. In addition to just extending the life of mine, the deeper material has a higher grade, approximately 30% higher grade in copper. We're quite a low grade mine, so every improvement we can get is fundamental for us. And then along the way, the Lift 2 project of which the Crusher 5 is a component, has really become a catalyst for substantial change in the local community, in employment, and also in the preservation of the environment, because we are not just a mine, we're also a wildlife sanctuary here at Palabora.
And looking to the future, you've extended the life of the mine. What are your hopes and ambitions then for PMC and the community in which that you're mining in?
Thank you. The mine being named Palabora and the town synonymous, we're the largest employer by far in the town, and really the town's livelihood and the local Palabora community's livelihood is linked to the mine's good fortune going forward. And by extending our life of mine, we mine 3 products here. Copper, which is our major reason for existence, magnetite and vermiculite. And all 3 of these have a healthy future. Our shareholders have invested and shown a lot of confidence in the mine right through COVID and through various difficulties that we've had, and they've really held sacrosanct job retention. So it's huge. Most of the people who work on the mine, almost all, reside in the local community.
So I guess in the end, this is pride and joy, not just for PMC, but Palabora, South Africa, and even the continent, that we have this crusher, this technology landed on our shores.
I think it is something to celebrate. This is a success story. Palabora, the town, and Palabora Mining Company is a success story, and I think it's one that we are right to celebrate.
Aidan Schoonbee, thank you so much indeed for joining us. It's been a pleasure talking to you, and we wish you the best with this next phase of PMC's journey.
Peter, thank you. It's been a pleasure.